For so long this year, it seemed that cricket fields like this one here at Trent Bridge and all of those across the county might remain empty in 2020. But the game did get underway professionally here and recreationally across the county as well. And that it did is down to the tireless work of the clubs and leagues, the volunteers and the cricketing workforce for getting the game underway across the last few months. Welcome to the COVID Champion OSCAs, where we're recognising the efforts of just some of those people who made a difference in this strangest of summers. It needed a bit of hard work, it needed creativity and more than a little patience as well. But then in cricket, we're used to waiting.
The one thing you can say about us is that we are good at waiting. It's what we do. We wait out the winter and count down through spring. We're quite used to waiting for things to begin. We wait for the groundsman to summon up grass. We wait for the umpire to rattle the brass. We wait for the weather, the gloam and the rain. We wait overnight for the next bit of the game. We wait our turn whilst cheering those in. We wait out the bowler with the devilish spin. We wait through a session when it's not our day. We wait through the years that don't go our way. Our parents waited, our grandparents and their parents too. We waited before, and we lost quite a few. We built this game, the country that queues, as waiting doesn't mean there's nothing to do.
This isn't easy.
We all miss cricket.
But this is making a difference.
Thank you for all you're doing.
So we will wait, dig in, play straight, keep guard, play for the team. Every run scored is hard.
I'm going to be donating this shirt.
We will wait with some help on the end of the phone. When you carry your bat, you don't carry it alone.
Donate to such a great cause.
Our team, our game, our country at our best, as we stand together.
Together.
Through this test.
Hi everyone, hope you're well.
I hope you're all staying safe at home.
Hope you're looking after yourselves, keeping yourselves active.
Try and do something fun every day, no matter what that looks like to you.
We will wait this out, our longest review. We will wait it out. Because that's what we do.
That's Stephen Fry narrating The Wait, released by the ECB in May as we all held our breath to see if the recreational game would return in 2020. Tonight we're recognising 6 individuals who went above and beyond for the sport they love this summer. Beginning with a member of the cricketing workforce, those umpires, scorers and groundsmen who faced such challenges this year. Our Social Media Award recognises how vital technology has been in keeping communities connected during lockdowns, while our Leagues Award highlights the behind-the-scenes work that competitions had to put in to create enjoyable, competitive and safe fixtures. It's been a challenging year for our coaches too, and our Coaches Award will honour one individual who went the extra mile to allow others to enjoy the sport they love. And our final 2 awards will recognise 2 club heroes who stepped up this summer and made truly outstanding contributions in extraordinary circumstances. I'm joined now by Josh Scully, who's the Club Development Officer for Teams and Leagues. Josh, it's been a year like no other, so I suppose the sort of nominations you got were a little bit different this year.
Yeah. So what a strange year we've had, I guess. The fact we didn't think we were going to play cricket and the last minute changes, I guess, for the clubs and the volunteers. So fantastic that we got some cricket played, and most definitely down to our volunteers in our leagues and clubs that they got cricket in some form playing in a bit of normality, at least for those. Obviously the change in year, we've had a different form of nominations, different categories, but it's great to see the hard work that was put in and also the reward those volunteers that were there and got cricket played.
What kinds of things did you hear about people doing this year that were different to what they might have to do in a normal year?
Yeah, so the ECB announced their playing regulations and the rules for playing, which is fantastic. We got to get out and play. There was obviously certain stipulations in place, so social distancing, hands had to be sanitised every 6 overs, as well as the ball. Spectators couldn't touch the ball when it went over the boundary, and using pavilions, one-way systems and track and trace. So there was a lot of adaptability the clubs had to do in order to get cricket played. All clubs achieved that, which was fantastic, and it was great to see actually out there playing and people abiding by those rules.
How impressed were you overall with the nominations you've had to sift through for these awards?
Yeah, as always, the standard's extremely high. So we've got some fantastic volunteers in our county, albeit from the different areas of the recreational game, from the leagues, the officials, and that person at the club that seems to do everything. Really high standard, and actually the differences of what clubs had to do for this year, it was great to see those individuals adapt and change the way they've worked previously in online committee meetings and just the way they engage with their customers and their players.
And I suppose it must have been a bit of a roller coaster for you guys here as well, in terms of not knowing what would be possible or if anything would be possible, and then eventually getting a good couple of months in the end. Yeah,
it felt like we were playing catch up to a certain point come sort of April, May time. Guidance was changing and we weren't sure if we were going to play, and credit I guess to the volunteers and the rest of the team for getting cricket played and such a short turnaround.
Well, for cricketers across the county to return to the field at all, the cricketing workforce had to come together in a way they'd never done before. From hand sanitising breaks to social distancing, those umpires, scorers and groundsmen had plenty of new challenges to deal with. Here's Nottinghamshire's Steve Birks on how he, as head groundsman, got through this summer.
I look back, it was, at the beginning, it was very unreal because we went from cricket groundsman to maybe being like a football groundsman because you didn't have to cover anything up. So obviously grass was growing, so you started, doing all your pre-season work and everything, but not putting any covers on. And then we seemed to be practicing every day for weeks before we started playing cricket. So it was really strange, really strange.
And what was it like, just the experience of being in the ground? Because when everybody was locked down, there was dispensation there for you, and I think a couple of additional ground staff to be here to keep things going. This must have been a bit of a weird, eerie place. Yeah, it was very quiet. It was strange because obviously nobody rang you, nobody came out to see you, nobody come moaning about the pitches at first. So it was really different, but it was really eerie because obviously we couldn't go out the ground. We just kept in the the bubble of the green bit really, and just did our daily work and got on with everything. How did you feel about it emotionally during that period? Did you miss the game? Yeah, I think you miss it. Yeah, you do. You miss it because you, in the back of your mind, you think it's going to start at any time. So you was always preparing or getting ready, half preparing pitches ready, just in case it wanted to have been 5 or 6 days. So it was really, it was weird. And then when the green light came for cricket to return, there was, as you mentioned, a month of concerted practice and then 2 months of back-to-back cricket, I suspect, like you've never seen before. How did you go about tackling those challenges? Well, we had a pitch plan, so we knew what games were coming and how we were going to perform. And I said to Pete, for one-day pitches, we were going to play on a new pitch, near enough every game if we could. And then at some stage, he had a choice of 2 or 3 pitches to play, to pick from. So it was good, but we used every pitch. I think we used every pitch. We even used the test pitch to have a practice on. So we wanted to make sure we played on everything we could and give the boys every opportunity to play on a decent surface.
For his tireless hard work, which allows hundreds of people to play cricket, and preparing up to 6 pitches for games per week, the winner of the COVID champion workforce is Marius Delport.
As the secretary of Bingham Cricket Club, and on behalf of the entire club, I could not be more delighted to say a huge thank you to Nottinghamshire for the award of the not Oscar for COVID champion for workforce to Marius Delport. He really is a deserving winner of this award. Throughout the first lockdown, he worked tirelessly and alone in preparing the square and the outfield in the hope that eventually
as spring turned into summer, we would be able to play some cricket. Many, many hours were spent by himself with no one near him to maintain social distancing, to just make sure that there was a chance that as soon as a green light was given to play cricket, that the youngsters at Bingham Cricket Club, never mind the senior teams, could play. And indeed, when we finally arrived in July and small groups were begun to play and to practice in the nets, Marius was there making sure the facilities and the grounds were ready to play. And once we started to arrange junior fixtures, almost every night of the week, tirelessly Marius prepared one strip after another. He could not have worked harder, and every single member of the club is indebted to his hard work. Without it, the many, many young people associated with Bingham Cricket Club simply would not have had the opportunity to enjoy the second half of July, August and early September playing cricket. He made a real difference, and people were back out playing cricket with a smile on their faces, enjoying the wonderful game that we all live for during the summer.
Now, when lockdown first arrived in March, technology became even more central to our day-to-day lives. From Zoom quizzes to remote meetings, our laptops, phones and tablets suddenly became the main way to contact the outside world. And it wasn't just for us as individuals either. Clubs and leagues used social media to get that sense of community back, even when we couldn't be together. So Ben, it was a year when for a long time it looked like you might not have got out onto the field at Trent Bridge at all. How important was it for you to have been able to play any cricket at all this year?
Yeah, I think obviously it was, like you say, it was a bit of unknown in the start of the summer when we went into lockdown. And there's times when I personally didn't think we were going to play, just from all the news that was coming out, and I thought there was literally no chance. And then obviously to finally be able to get back here training when we did, and then into games, I think so we were very lucky to have that opportunity to play. So yeah, obviously we were over the moon when we could come back and get out of the house really and do what we love.
Paul Franks has mentioned how that's his favourite moment of the year, really, answering the phone and being told that cricket's back on. Was that such a big moment for you as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously when it came, it was a bit of a, when we found out, I think it was a bit of a strange one, because I think a few of us were talking, and everyone's got their own ideas and of are we going to and are we not and things like that. So I think a few of us are sort of thinking in our lives it's never going to happen, and then some lads were being a bit more optimistic. So yeah, it was more of for me it was more of a shock, because I could not see it happening, especially when it dragged on for that long really. And with only having a couple of months of the season left, I just thought there's no way it would happen. But so yeah, like it was a bit of a shock, but a good one that we could sort of get back playing.
Now I know in a normal year you'll pop back over the border and play for Chesterfield every now and again as well. Did you manage to keep up and keep in touch with them with how their year was going? Yeah, no, I played a couple of games.
Played, I think in July when we were back training. That's when, yeah, I played and I had to get changed out the boot of my car and all that. It was strange rocking up, and they'd already played one game the week before, so a few of they all knew what was going off. And I sort of turned up. I obviously turned up in my kit and in my warm-up kit, and I was like, well, what do I do? So I parked the car, got my spikes out, and well, what do I do with my car keys and all that sort of stuff. So it's so strange. And then having to get padded up in the back of my car, it was just a bit surreal really. But I think they were, obviously all the club cricketers were pleased to get games in really, and it was nice to get back for a couple of games and see the lads. Yeah, it must have been a very different experience playing in this sort of day and age. No tees and all those sorts of things, I'm sure as well. Yeah, well, I had to make my own, so it's in that sense it wasn't great. Obviously, I would take my own sandwiches and that. I love looking forward to a cricket tea on a weekend. So yeah, obviously mine wasn't up to scratch of what that would be. So yeah, it was just weird. Like you can't hang around after the game like you would have a beer and things like that. So just just very strange. Hopefully we'll get back to normal next year.
Now, as we went through lockdown, obviously technology became quite a big thing for all of us. It was the only way we could kind of keep in touch with anyone. And I know there's still quite a striking picture of you hosting a Zoom quiz on your Instagram. Very nicely dressed up. But
yeah, the less we say about that, the better, I think.
But in general, how important was that kind of staying connected? Did you manage to do that as a squad during lockdown?
Yeah, I think so. I think we had a few Zoom calls as squads. And then obviously this sort of stuff that we did that people arranged as a whole club for everyone, which was good. And yeah, I wouldn't have come on those Zoom calls dressed like that. I was on my Instagram post, but obviously sort of with family and friends, it was good to do those sort of things really, just to stay connected, like you said. But I think it's got to a point now we're in the second one, and I think my mum put something in the family group the other day about a quiz, and my girlfriend weren't happy about that. I think we're all a bit quizzed out, so we're not doing them anymore, I don't think.
Did your quizzing improve through lockdown?
No, I think it probably got worse, really. I think it got to a stage where there was that many where people were just typing in general knowledge quiz questions and clicking on the first link. And I think by the end of it, we'd done that many quizzes that the same questions kept coming up over and over. So it was all like a bit of cheating was going off, really. Like, well, I've had this one last night. We've got this question ticked off. But yeah, like you say, it was good at that time to sort of do it. But I think now we're all quizzed out, really.
For keeping his club, Gedling Colliery, connected during the lockdown, using online competitions, quizzes and games, the winner of the COVID Champion Social Media Award is Chris Berry.
I was really surprised to be nominated for the COVID Champion for Social Media by the club. Our club can be a bit stealthy when it comes to things like this, but I was really pleased to know that what I'd been up to during lockdown in terms of trying to create a bit more of a social media presence and a bit more of connectivity was sort of felt through the club. This year we obviously had to postpone most of our normal events, so we made them all go online essentially. And also obviously this year was supposed to be the launch of the 100, so we created an Owls at 100 so that everyone could take part. Basically, club members from juniors, players, friends, family, supporters took part in a game that we created that they could compete via Zoom, Facebook Live, FaceTime, however they wanted to do it. And it ended with a great final. We had one of our youngest players and her team of heroic women's sporting champions, including cricketers, footballers, athletes, playing against one of our older club vice presidents who had a team full of historic cricket left-handers, and he got a good trouncing in the process. The big thing for us was trying to keep everyone involved and engaged and thinking about cricket, so that when the time came and when the games came back on, people were still wanted to take part, really. We're a big cricket family, and being able to provide cricket at the end of the season, beat everything else that we could do. It's great to have everyone talking and communicating and taking part in these social events, but actually being able to get cricket back on at the end was a massive godsend for everyone. So we were really happy with that, and I'm really happy to have won the award as well. It's very generous.
Now, with the opening months of the season lost to a lockdown, the league's faced quite a few challenges in getting a competitive, enjoyable but a safe season underway when the green light finally came. Andrew Wilson's with me, who's a club development officer for Notts. Andrew, it probably has been as strange a year as you've ever experienced in cricket.
It probably has actually, Matt. It's been a really strange year, really challenging for all the clubs and all the people around across the county, to be fair.
In particular, the leagues, what sort of things did they have to do when new announcements were coming almost every day and then they'd have to react and change things?
Yeah, they had to be really reactive, but if you bear in mind they're all volunteers, so the pandemic impacted on all their lives as individuals, and then they've got the league things to think about as well. So there was a lot of collaborative working. The leagues across the county worked together, Zoom meetings, and went down to sort of emergency committees, and just really had to react on a day-by-day basis because we just didn't know what was coming.
Yeah, what sort of attitude did they take into that? Because as you say, they're all volunteers and it's quite a heavy workload at times.
Yeah, they embraced it, to be fair. They were excellent. And I think there was a strong desire across the county for everybody to play cricket. So they really embraced the changes that were thrown at them, whether that be first thing in the morning or last thing at night. They were there to support everybody that wanted a game, really, in the season.
And I suppose something that we have seen this year is the joint statements from the various leagues and that collaborative working. How important do you think that has been and sort of can be going forward as well?
That was massive because it showed that everybody was working together and everybody was on the same page, to be fair, Matt. So we're all working to achieve a common goal, just to get people out playing cricket in a safe environment. So the leagues did do everything that was required of them. And I think moving forward, the more collaborative working that is involved and thinking together, the clubs and cricket across the county were a lot stronger.
And I suppose personally it must have been very satisfying when finally you got the sort of green light and you found that cricket could actually be played this year at all.
Yeah, that was amazing because after being on furlough for a short period of time, and then we worked with the clubs to basically keep the lights on, if you like, in the leagues, so financially, and make sure that they understood everything about the pandemic and that everybody was safe. And then as we went through the roadmap and we started to open up the nets and the grounds across the county, and then in the middle of July, eventually the green light, and we're out there playing on a Saturday afternoon, which was fantastic. For outstanding work by the Bassett Law and District Junior Cricket League to produce a competitive and successful cricket season, led by this particular individual, the winner of the COVID Champion Leagues Award is Mike Beard.
I think any recognition by your peers is much appreciated, and we put a lot into getting cricket on in the Bassett Law Junior League. So we're the four of us on the committee who sort of run it are all delighted. The juniors are our future, which is stating the blindingly obvious. I think the enthusiasm for cricket that had been generated by the success of the England team, Ben Stokes and his achievements and winning the World Cup and all the rest of it, we were in danger of losing that. And to an extent, I'm afraid we're still in danger of losing some of it. And no cricket programme at all in the summer of 2020 would have been a disaster. So we've kept the Junior Cricket Club turning over in 2020 as opposed to it going too far backwards. So I think that allows us to pick it up again in hopefully 2021 with some impetus behind it. I think that the support that the league received from our county board, from Mandy and the team, was exceptional. First of all, the communication about when the game was likely to start again, and then all the help with taking the necessary precautions and procedures, health and safety, and all the rest of it. I think without the support of Trent Bridge, I don't think we'd have played any cricket. It would have been too big a job. So I'd like to thank the team at Trent Bridge for that support. It was first class.
Well, once the recreational game was given the green light, it was the coaches who had to spring into action. There are a whole host of new regulations and guidelines for them to get their heads round, from hygiene breaks to sanitising to restrictions on the number of people who could train or play at any one time. But despite that, coaches across the county still allowed their passion for the game to come through. Here's Nottinghamshire's head coach Peter Moores on the challenges he faced this summer.
Well, lots of different things. We learned quite a bit as well, if I'm honest, Matt. I mean, there was lots of different things came up with small groups to start with, which was one of the things we got some great work done. Lots of alcohol gel, lots of social distancing, trying to make sure it's got that feeling of fun, I think, for everybody, still within the framework of trying to get ready professionally. So it had its different areas to go round, which I would have think for some of the amateur settings would be exactly the same.
Yeah, it was a long-awaited return to cricket for the pros and for the amateurs, a little bit longer as well. What was the attitude like of the players here when they were finally able to get back at Trent Bridge?
Just excited. We'd all waited. I think when it actually came around, we probably the month before we thought we weren't going to get any cricket, and I thought the thought of losing a whole season and the loss of that, I think, really showed all the players how much they love the game. Sometimes they sort of, in tough times, people turn around and they can view it how they want, but I think deep down they all love the game. And it went back to being a game. I say to a lot of people, I've been in the game nearly 40 years now. I don't think I've ever been to work. For me, it's the game. It's fun. It's cricket. And I think the players all went back to that, and they went back to that key message that I'm here. I'm very lucky to be doing what I do. We knew at the club a lot of people were still in furlough, and a lot of fans who couldn't come in. And I think that got a real sense of community, and when we spoke to the lads were really clear what they were playing for. They were playing for the people who weren't here. I think that was a great message, but it got a real energy and buzz around the whole group, which I think carried us through the whole season.
As a head coach, what challenges did lockdown bring as well? Was it more of a mental challenge, almost a pastoral job you had with the players?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, number one was everybody okay? And everybody's in different situations, and I actually felt we had, some players homeschooling who felt like they were rushed off their feet, trying to do things at home, things they hadn't done before, which was great learner from some of them, how hard their wives work actually when they got up and came work. They thought they had a tough job. To also, I think sometimes a really tough situation, sometimes for some of our younger end players who maybe lived in a flat in West Bridgford, and they're sort of a bit bored because they can't go out, they're locked in, and they're physical men. They want to go out and exercise and play cricket, go and play golf, whatever it is. They're used to meeting in coffee shops. None of that was available. So they all got through it well. Credit to them all, they all worked hard. So we also pushed them, but we wanted them to stay fit. We wanted to make the most. If we came back from lockdown, we didn't know at that time, that they'd be ready to play, so they could enjoy it, and then we could represent ourselves as a club. We'd worked extremely hard up till going into lockdown in March, that we were ready to play and try and compete for the 2 trophies that were going to be on offer.
And even when the season got underway or threatened to get underway out here, the club season was getting going. A few players from this dressing room will have turned out for club sides as well. How important is that link and that whole cricket network that all got going this summer?
Well, at one point it looked like club cricket was going to play and we weren't. That's what it looked like, and I think we had a lot of players who just wanted to play, saying, listen, can I go and play here, can I go and play there? And we were saying, yeah, of course you can. We just had to make sure it's safe for them, and also safe for them to come back into our own bubble if that bubble created. So it worked out great, because by then we started to know we'd come back. A couple of lads got games in before, and the club cricket is a lifeline. It always has been a lifeline. Professional cricket and club cricket, they're the same game. It's the same thing. Professionally, you get paid for doing it, but it's still the game of cricket. And for me, fundamentally, all players have got to remember that. You've got to remember where you came from. It helps keep your feet on the ground, and however lucky you are to climb up that ladder of the game, don't forget the roots of where you started were often with your local coach, your parents, people ferrying you around, people giving you time for nothing else but for their enthusiasm and their joy of seeing you get better. And that to me is fundamental, really, that we need. Everybody remembers that. I remember my first coaches, and a school teacher, Ian Wilson, who'd spend hours just watching us play in the net, and being there for us and make us learn us to enjoy the game. So that's so important, I think. It's the starting block for everybody who goes on and becomes something more in the game if they go on and play professionally, and some go on and play internationally.
For his work across the Old Bride and Junior section and introducing the club's first ever women's team, the winner of the COVID champion for coaches is Gareth Jones.
Well, I feel very, very humble to be nominated during this COVID period. I'm sure there's many other people fully deserving this in other clubs, but thank you very much for the nomination from the Also Bride people. I really took it upon myself to start as soon as the ECB and the government gave the go-ahead sometime in May for the go-ahead of up to 6 people using nets. I took it upon myself really to get the juniors started on Saturday mornings, and we built from there from 1 session, 2 sessions, 3 sessions a week, and then with the seniors then later on Saturday. The junior side, well, I'm chairman of the Pastoral Junior Committee. We took it upon ourselves to have a full programme of junior cricket, started in mid-July, and this proved a huge success, going right through until mid-September. It was very important to get some games going and practice going for cricket, not only to keep the club going and the juniors going, but I was so aware that if we lost cricket for 18 months, this could result in a few youngsters maybe leaving the game and going over to other sports. We've got it going again, we kept it going. We had good attendances on a Friday night. We had our under 11s, 13s and 15s teams going, and also the younger ones at softball, under 9s and quick cricket.
Now, it's not just about the winners in the county for tonight's Nottinghamshire COVID Champion Oscars. 3 winners have been chosen to represent Notts in the ECB's National NatWest Oscars as well. Joe's back with me to talk about the nominees and the winners for those categories. 3 very deserving winners, Joe.
Absolutely.
We'll take a look through them. Firstly, the Connecting Communities Award. Kate Hayes took that one. What did she do to impress you all?
Yeah, so Kate's been one of our outstanding volunteers for many years. And in this particular case, it was to work with the Quick Cricket League, and which is spread across the whole county. It's a lot of clubs and a lot of volunteers to mobilise, and at very short notice, Kate managed to not only get as many clubs as possible playing in the Quick Cricket competition this year, but introduce a new format that the ECB down to 6-a-side and change pitch lengths. And it was a phenomenal effort on Kate's behalf, especially having sadly lost Dan Sutton, who was her partner in that Quick Cricket League this year. She took that all on herself, and it was a tremendous effort to get all those kids out there playing cricket.
Josh Kingsley took the Proactive Leadership Award from Notts. What was in his submission?
Yeah, so Bingham had a great year in general, which I think kind of bucks the trend for a lot of clubs who feared they may struggle through COVID and lose members and possibly not gain them back. Well, Bingham managed to grow 25% of their membership, and a lot of that was down to Josh's direction as their senior cricket manager. So for the first time ever, Bingham were able to get 6 sides out on a weekend, including 4 Saturday senior sides. They put sides out in the South Notts Development Division for the first time. So it was a really good summer for Bingham in terms of growing their participation, bringing in new coaches and leaders for their women's team and their senior team, and Josh was the spearhead of all of that.
And there was the Raise the Bat award as well. Now, I remember reading a bit about Martin, actually, and the Batathon he took part in this year, which seemed like quite an effort.
Yeah, absolutely. So Martin's was a really magnificent individual achievement to bat for that long. I played with Martin. He's never batted for more than 5 minutes previously. So yeah, that was a brilliant effort, and obviously not only to do that for his own club, but to do that for the Mind charity and to raise awareness of that, and up to about £2,000, I think it was a brilliant individual effort from Martin, which we felt really was deserving of recognition.
Now, in a moment, we'll move on to our final awards of the evening for those club heroes who went the extra mile this year. But first, here's Nottinghamshire's Elite Pathway manager Matt Wood on how the leagues, volunteers and juniors adapted to cricket in 2020.
With a lot of the players playing at their clubs under the same restrictions, that soon the players got used to it, and it was just to them that ended up being a normal game of cricket, and their attitude coming back from obviously quite a long break was excellent. Then they were all sort of really raring to go to get some cricket under the belt before the end of the season.
And it wouldn't have been just the players on the field who had to put the work in. What have you made of the commitment around the club and the game, I suppose, to get those matches on?
It's been great. Our coaching staff have been excellent. The number of hours they put in such a short space of time to get cricket on was excellent. But also the clubs in Nottinghamshire have been very supportive of us hosting games at short notice. and they've been really welcoming and wanting as much cricket to be played, which has been fantastic.
It must have made it quite satisfying personally to actually be able to see some cricket in the end this year.
Yeah, it was, and sort of putting a season together in 2 weeks is something we haven't done before, but we managed to get a lot of cricket played in a short space of time, which was excellent. And I think people's sort of attitude to cricket was suddenly like, it's great, it's a wonderful thing after having 3 months of no cricket, suddenly be able to play, and a lot of lads were playing with a lot more sort of smile on their face rather than, I wouldn't say taking it too seriously, but that enjoyment factor was the starting point, I think, and continued through the 8-10 week season we had.
And also when it comes to the professional game, to the Notts players who've been out here on the field, how does it inspire that academy group to have seen the likes of Jake Ball going on to win trophies and do so well this year, Lyndon James making his mark again as a graduate in the setup?
It's great, and you've got Lyndon and Joey in the last couple of years who have moved on from academy cricket into the professional game, which has been fantastic to watch, and it's all credit to them of how hard they've worked. Another great thing was a few of the academy lads had a great opportunity to play in a warm-up game before the final, which was fantastic. So Sammy King, Kandil and Fateh Singh all played in that game, which was a great experience, playing at Trent Bridge with the champions of the T20 Brass, which was great to see.
Due to the amount of outstanding nominations in this category, we've chosen 2 people. This individual has gone over and above at his club to ensure safety across the whole club and including their large indoor facility. COVID champion club hero is Andy Stevenson.
Hello everybody. I'm delighted and honoured to have won the COVID Champion Club Hero 2020 Oscar. Being a volunteer, you don't expect any rewards, so being nominated for something like this is totally unexpected, but gratefully received, and I'm over the moon with it. This year has been rough for a lot of us. I personally spent all of May in hospital with a non-COVID illness, so once out it was great to get involved with helping Cookney to play cricket. So, setting up was always going to be a challenge as the rules and regulations were ever changing. I was glad of the help from Notts Cricket Club with their regular Zoom calls and emails helping to explain the new rules and regulations, and there was many. There was some long days getting the club ready, but we got there in the end. It was important to get this right so all of the members, players and supporters could try and get some normality back after a long lockdown. To see the players finally set foot on the field and the regular supporters turn up and take their seats made all the hard work worthwhile. And not forgetting the juniors. We held a quick cricket tournament this year and everybody thoroughly enjoyed themselves. I would like to thank those who have nominated me and also all of the committee, players and supporters who helped make this work at Cookney Cricket Club. Thank you once again. Look after yourselves and stay safe.
For ensuring that the players of Midlands CC, who were only formed in 2019, had over 20 fixtures to play this season at a quality venue, the winner of COVID Champion Club Hero is Faisal Ali.
This award is really the icing on the cake for me, especially given we won this season in our division and came out as champions. So well done to everybody at Midlands CC. Our club didn't really stop working in the off season. We were working on funds, whether it be through sponsorship or the ECB grant. We were working on producing new logos, a new kit which we had established. We managed to secure a new ground, which was one of my targets for this season. And it's Premier League accredited and much better than the ones that we were playing on. So I guess all of that in part sort of contributed towards creating a bit of an attraction for our club. We're a club that just gels. The chemistry is great. COVID couldn't hold us down. The mood was up. It didn't impact our mood at all. We were enjoying ourselves. It was a great season. But I just want to take this opportunity to thank a bunch of people as well who've allowed Midlands CC to have a successful season this year. In particular, Radcliffe-on-Trent CC, great set of people there. Thank you very much for allowing us to rent your ground. It's been a tremendous help. Chilwell CC, Kashi Fakram, always there to loan us a player or two if we need, or coming down to have friendly fixtures with us. Sabir Aziz, Sultan Khan, 2 players who were part of the efforts to get us promoted this season. So thank you guys. Thank you Joe Fish as well for all your help too with Midlands CC. And I hope everybody watching this stays safe. See you next season, and have a good Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Well, that brings our celebration of 2020 to a close. Thank you for joining us from afar tonight to celebrate the work of those who did so much to make recreational cricket come alive again over the past few months. We'll finish with another short film from the ECB, which highlights the tireless work of those across the country to bring the game we love back to life this summer. And watch out for a short cameo from Eastwood Town Cricket Club as well. Stay safe this winter, and hopefully we can be back here in 12 months' time for an end of season celebration at Trent Bridge in 2021.
It's been a long time since we have had any action on the international arena.
They say the thing about cricket is that it reveals what's within. Some build an innings, some attack, some organise, some hang back, some support, some from afar, some chip in, some raise the bar. Some speak out, some understand, some dig deep, some lend a hand.
What it did for the club community.
They just did everything they could.
It's really brought the community together.
Cricket could also be back soon.
Club cricket can return next weekend.
Because England women will host West Indies.
It's the sum of these parts. That's why we're strong. Be proud of this year, and we'll always play on. In every coin toss, in fresh coats of gloss, this game will remember. In murmuring fields, in club crests and shields, this game will remember. In records and books, in glorious hooks, this game will remember. And though we all fade, we give what we've made, and this game will remember. As willow on leather will echo forever, and in that we are always together.